You know this feeling, don't you? You wake up and you promise yourself that today is the day. Today will be different. You'll finally start. You'll clean the desk. You'll open that document. You'll finish that dream project you've been putting off. But then somehow the hours just slip away. You find yourself scrolling, grabbing a snack, stretching, and then scrolling again. And before you know it, the day has faded into evening and that important task is still untouched. Let me tell you something important. You're not lazy. You're just stuck in a cycle. It's a loop built from comfort, a little bit of fear, and a whole lot of distraction. And breaking that loop, it doesn't start with putting more pressure on yourself. It starts with understanding. Our brains are hardwired to love comfort. It's a primal survival instinct. The same ancient wiring that once kept our ancestors safe from real dangers now keeps us safe from things that feel uncomfortable. When a task seems hard, or uncertain, or just plain new, our brain whispers, maybe later, not right now. And with every single postponed decision, that whisper solidifies into a habit. That's why procrastination often feels so heavy. It's not that you lack ambition, it's the sheer weight of all that avoidance. We avoid things that challenge our comfort zone. We avoid the risk of failing at something that actually means a lot to us. And in that avoidance, we end up trading real, meaningful growth for these tiny, short-lived bursts of pleasure. And let's be honest, the modern world feeds that cycle perfectly. Every swipe, every scroll, every new video gives us these little micro-rewards, tiny sparks of satisfaction that trick our brains into feeling like we've accomplished something, even when we've done nothing at all. We tell ourselves we'll start when we feel motivated. You know, when that magical spark hits, when the mood is just right. But here's the secret. Motivation doesn't just appear out of thin air. It isn't some gift from the universe. Motivation is a consequence. It comes after. You start, not before. Think about it this way. A rolling stone only gathers momentum once it's actually moving. Waiting for motivation to strike is like waiting for a fire to start before you've even struck the match. The truth is, it's the small action that creates motivation, not the other way around. So, what we call laziness is rarely about just being idle. It's usually a signal, a symptom of something deeper going on. Sometimes it's fear. What if I fail? Sometimes it's perfectionism. What if it's not good enough? And sometimes it's just pure exhaustion, mental clutter that's disguised as apathy. The key here is to stop judging yourself for it and start listening to it instead. Because when you start to see procrastination not as your enemy but as a message, you can finally begin to understand what your mind is trying to tell you. Self-awareness is the absolute foundation of all productivity. Before you can even think about fixing your habits, you have to understand your triggers. When do you typically avoid work? What do you reach for instead? Your phone? A snack? Write it down. Patterns reveal themselves incredibly quickly once you start being honest with yourself on paper. The truth is, you can't overcome procrastination by hating yourself into action. It just doesn't work. You do it by studying your own mind like a curious, supportive friend, not a strict, punishing teacher. Every time we choose comfort over progress, our brain rewards us with a little hit of relief. That's why it feels so good in the moment to say, I'll do it later. But that relief is always temporary, and underneath it, it's slowly building up guilt, stress, and anxiety. It's not really laziness. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of reward. Your brain thinks it's protecting you from discomfort, but all it's really doing is postponing the inevitable challenge that leads to growth. And every delay, every time we put something off, it carries an invisible cost. Each postponed task steals a little piece of peace from your future self. It's not the work itself that exhausts us. It's the constant, nagging mental reminder that we haven't done it yet. You don't escape the burden by avoiding the task. You end up carrying it with you everywhere you go. The unfinished work becomes a kind of background noise in your life, and you can't truly rest when your mind is crowded with all these half-built bridges. So what's the cure? It's simple. Action. Not massive, perfect, overwhelming action, just motion. Start with the smallest possible step. When you begin, even just a little, you interrupt that loop of delay. Your mind goes, okay, we've started. And momentum begins to take over from there. So write one sentence, organize one folder, do one push-up. That's how real change begins, not with a roaring fire, but with a single tiny spark. This is the art of laziness. It's not a battle against who you are, but a dance with your own nature. It's learning how to work with your mind instead of constantly fighting against it. Over the next parts of this journey, we'll explore the science behind procrastination, the mindset shifts that can reignite your drive, and the simple habits that turn effort into ease. This is just the beginning. Thanks for being here, and if you're ready for the next step, make sure to follow or subscribe.